Everything you have ever experienced, every person you met, every result you achieved, all of it was a reflection of your vibration. The entire universe, with all its infinite possibilities, bends to the frequency you carry. Thoth, the ancient god of wisdom, once said, "As within, so without. As above, so below." These are not poetic words. They are the most precise instruction ever given to humankind. If you learn to command your inner energy, the external world will have no choice but to obey you. The game of reality is not about effort, but about vibration. Whoever masters energy commands form. Whoever controls their frequency shapes their destiny. Write this in the comments right now to anchor the message within your mind. The universe listens to my vibration. Wadewanda. If you feel this truth awakening inside you, join the members of this channel, become part of those who choose wisdom over illusion, and awaken under the light of Thoth. Now breathe, slow down. Imagine your energy like waves in an invisible ocean that responds to every emotion, every thought, every silent belief you hold. Thoth, the scribe of the gods, keeper of the emerald tablets, taught that the universe itself is a living mind. You are not separate from it. Every thought you release becomes a command, a vibration written into the field of reality. The problem is that most people are unaware they are writing unconsciously. They think, feel, and desire without alignment. They beg for light while vibrating scarcity. They want freedom while feeding fear. That is why life seems inconsistent. The universe is only mirroring the chaos within. But once you understand the first law of Hermetic wisdom, the all is mind, the universe is mental, you begin to see that you were never a victim of circumstances, but the architect behind them. Thoth did not teach humans to worship the gods. He taught them to become conscious creators, aligned with divine intelligence. He was not a deity to be adored, but a mirror of what we could become. When you begin to master your inner state, you step into that archetype, the living image of balance, order, and creative authority. Notice how your body feels when you think of something that brings you peace. The breath deepens, the chest opens. That is vibration aligning with truth. The more often you hold that frequency, the more reality begins to organize itself around it. Many people expect change to come from outside, but Thoth reminded, change your vibration and the forms will follow. This is not metaphorical, it is law. The universe is a mirror made of energy, and energy always obeys consciousness. Most people are trapped inside what Thoth called the cycle of rhythm. They rise when life feels good and collapse when it feels hard. But the wise learn to transcend rhythm. They stay centered when life oscillates. They become the calm eye in the storm. Imagine a pendulum. While the world swings left and right, the center remains still. That stillness is where true creation begins. From there, your word gains power. From there, your energy becomes command. The secret is not in forcing reality to obey you. It is in becoming so internally coherent that obedience happens naturally. Reality flows toward stability. When your inner field vibrates with clarity, love, and purpose, the external must synchronize. That is why Thoth was also known as the Lord of Time. He understood that time bends around consciousness. The more stable your vibration, the faster reality adapts. The more chaotic your emotion, the slower the manifestation. Close your eyes for a moment and remember one event in your life that felt miraculous. Something that happened exactly when you were aligned, without struggle. That was the law of vibration responding instantly. The mind of the universe heard you clearly because in that moment there was no resistance. You were in harmony with the divine mind, the same intelligence that moves galaxies and guides the tides. You and it are not two. You are one consciousness expressing itself in infinite forms. When Thoth engraved the emerald tablets, he left instructions for this alignment. Speak only when your words are of light. In today's language, it means, do not affirm what you do not wish to experience. Every word is a vibration, and every vibration is a seed. The universe never judges, it simply responds. If you say, "I am always unlucky," the field echoes that vibration. If you say, "Everything flows easily for me," the same law amplifies it. The universe has no preference. It is pure obedience to frequency. That is why Thoth's wisdom is called Hermetic, sealed, hidden from those who look outside for answers. But once you turn inward, you find the key. That key is your emotional state. Every emotion is a signal that tells the universe what reality to build around you. Fear attracts confusion. Gratitude attracts clarity. When you hold the vibration of gratitude, you are telling the universe, "I already have." And the universe, in its perfect obedience, brings more to match that signal. In the temples of ancient Kem, Egypt, initiates were trained to listen to silence. Thoth taught them to speak not through noise, but through intention. The true command of energy does not come from shouting affirmations, but from vibrating certainty. It is the quiet authority of one who knows they are part of the creative force. When you act from that knowing, life bends effortlessly. That is why so few ever reach mastery. They keep seeking outside, while the real temple is within. Remember this: every time you focus on what is missing, you amplify absence. Every time you focus on what is present, you amplify abundance. The law of vibration makes no exceptions. It responds to attention. The more you worry, the more reasons to worry you receive. The more you trust, the more evidence of trustworthiness the universe reveals. Thoth's teaching is not about blind faith, it is about energetic precision. Let's test it now. For the next few moments, silently repeat, "I am aligned with the wisdom of Thoth." Feel how your body responds. Something subtle begins to shift. The mind slows, the breath deepens, the heart expands. That sensation is the field reconfiguring. Keep that vibration as long as you can, and watch what changes in your outer world within the next days. Many people who apply this teaching report that even small adjustments in energy bring visible transformations. Thoth's legacy is not a myth. It is a technology of consciousness. The 7 Hermetic principles are not theories. They are operating laws of reality. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender, each one a key to command energy wisely. But the first and greatest remains. The all is mind. That is the essence behind the universe obeys your energy. It's not magic, it's law. Once you live by it, you stop chasing. You start aligning. You stop begging the universe to give and start tuning yourself to receive. You realize that manifestation is not about creating something new, but revealing what was already present in a higher frequency. The more aligned you become, the faster reality rearranges. The more grateful you are, the more reasons to stay grateful appear. Thoth called this the spiral of light, the upward movement of consciousness. The ancient scribes believed that each human carried within their chest a fragment of Thoth's own consciousness, a spark of divine order. When you awaken that spark, you remember who you are. Not a small being trapped in time, but the creator of time itself. Every choice, every emotion, every thought ripples across dimensions. That is why Thoth was called the guardian of time, because he understood that mastery over energy is mastery over destiny. Thoth never asked humanity to believe in power. He asked them to embody it. Belief keeps you in the mind. Embodiment shifts you into command. The moment you feel truth in your body, it becomes law. That is why many people know about vibration, yet few transform. They intellectualize what should be lived. The Hermetic path was never about knowing the words, but becoming the word. Every breath, every gesture, every decision. An encoded message to the universe saying, "This is who I am." The universe responds to identity, not desire. You attract not what you want, but what you are being right now. Thoth's initiates were trained to observe energy the way a mathematician observes patterns. They knew that emotion is not random, it's a form of geometry. Each feeling creates a pattern in the field, a frequency structure that magnetizes corresponding realities. When anger is repeated, it carves a spiral of chaos. When peace is stabilized, it builds a lattice of order. You live inside the architecture of your repeated emotions. Change the structure, and the entire building of reality rearranges itself in silence. No rituals, no effort, just precision of vibration. The true mastery is not in controlling emotions, but tuning them. Control implies fear. Tuning implies awareness. When you tune your energy, you become like a musician adjusting the strings of an ancient instrument. Your mind becomes the harp of Thoth, and each thought a note that calls creation into being. Every time you choose clarity over confusion or compassion over judgment, you are rewriting the melody that the universe plays back to you. That's why Thoth's teachings were often given through sound and rhythm, because sound is the bridge between thought and matter. People often think manifestation begins with vision boards or affirmations, but Thoth's wisdom shows that true creation starts much deeper, with the silence before thought. It's in that still point, the zero state, where intention forms without distortion. When you act from silence, your energy is clean. That's the difference between wishing and commanding. Wishing comes from lack. Commanding comes from alignment. The universe doesn't respond to noise. It responds to coherence. You've been taught to chase results, but Thoth invites you to chase alignment instead. When you align, results chase you. Imagine two frequencies, one chaotic, one pure. Which do you think reality prefers to follow? Coherence is magnetism. The more coherent your inner field, the faster matter obeys. That's the real secret behind all Hermetic practice, not a secret to be kept, but one that hides in plain sight because few have the discipline to still their vibration long enough to notice. Thoth was also called the voice of Ra, meaning he was the expression of divine intelligence in motion. His teachings reveal that speech is not mere communication. It's creation in progress. Each time you speak with emotional charge, you imprint energy into the field. Most people curse their lives without realizing it. They say, "I can't. I'm stuck. It's too late." And the obedient universe simply echoes, "As you wish." If you understood how fast energy obeys, you would measure every word as gold. That is why silence was sacred. It purified the vibration before it became form. Here is a paradox Thoth loved. The less you try to control reality, the more reality bends to you. Because control is rooted in fear, and fear signals separation. The moment you trust, the bridge reconnects. You re-enter the flow of divine intelligence, and life starts rearranging itself in your favor. It's not luck, it's law. You stop being a fragment in the current and become the current itself. That is the meaning of the universe obeys your energy. You are not commanding from outside, you are remembering that you are the field giving the command. Look deeper into this. Energy doesn't move because you tell it to. It moves because you remember what it already is. When your consciousness expands, you no longer manifest. You reveal. The light was always there, hidden by layers of doubt, fear, and identity. Thoth called these layers the veils of perception. Remove them, and reality becomes transparent. You stop trying to attract what you want and start allowing what matches your essence. This is why stillness is more powerful than effort, because stillness carries no resistance. Every soul carries an invisible resonance, its own signature tone in the cosmic symphony. When that tone is off-key, life feels heavy and dissonant. But when you return to your natural frequency, everything sinks again. People, opportunities, even time itself. Thoth's wisdom points to this return, not to something new, but to what was never lost. The path is circular, spiraling back to the same point, but with awareness this time. That is the real alchemy. Not turning lead into gold, but turning unconsciousness into light. Think about this. Have you ever noticed that when you are in deep gratitude, time feels slower? That's because gratitude expands perception. It literally widens your field of awareness. Thoth explained that time is elastic. It stretches and contracts according to vibration. When you vibrate in fear, time shrinks. You feel trapped. When you vibrate in love, time expands. Possibilities multiply. So mastering energy is not only about attracting things, it's about mastering the dimension you live in. The reason most people stay stuck is not because they don't know how, but because they still vibrate as the version of themselves that can't. Transformation happens not by adding more, but by subtracting the frequencies that no longer belong to your evolution. You cannot step into a higher timeline carrying the energy of your old story. Let it dissolve. The moment you release the frequency of struggle, the universe must remove the experience of struggle from your path. It's pure correspondence, as within, so without. Now imagine yourself as a point of light in an infinite web. Every thought you send travels through that web, reaching countless intersections. You are affecting more than you realize, not just your personal life, but the collective vibration of the planet. Thoth said that every awakened mind becomes a node of order in the chaos. Your alignment silently stabilizes the field around you. You don't need to convince others. Your vibration teaches without words. That is true leadership in the age of consciousness. Thoth's scribe spoke of the feather and the heart, symbols of balance used in the judgment of the soul. The heart had to be lighter than the feather of truth. This was never about morality, it was about vibration. A heavy heart sinks in density. A light heart rises to higher dimensions. When your energy becomes light, free from resentment, guilt, and fear, the universe treats you as one of its own currents. You move effortlessly because you are no longer opposing the flow. People search for signs, for synchronicities, for proof that they are on the right path. But synchronicity is not a gift, it's a measurement of alignment. The more you vibrate in coherence, the more reality speaks to you in symbols, numbers, and perfect timings. It's the universe whispering, "You're tuned." Thoth described this as the language of light, a silent communication between mind and cosmos. When you see it, it means your command has been received. Stay consistent. Now let's break a silent assumption. Most believe they need more energy to change their lives. In truth, you already have infinite energy. It's just being distributed into fragmented attention. The power is not missing, it's misdirected. Every scroll, every doubt, every comparison disperses your charge. Bring it back. Focus is the new wealth. When your attention becomes singular, energy becomes laser-like. The universe mirrors that clarity instantly. That's why Thoth taught focus as sacred, because attention is the true currency of creation. Another illusion to dissolve, the idea that vibration is emotional hype. Real vibration is quiet. It's not screaming affirmations. It's silent authority. It's the calm knowing that reality bends because you are aligned, not because you force it. The loudest frequencies are not the most powerful. The most stable are. That's why temples were silent. Power doesn't need to announce itself. It radiates. The same is true for your energy. Be still and the world adjusts. Thoth's geometry of consciousness teaches that energy follows intention, and intention follows awareness. So the root of all transformation is awareness. The moment you see the pattern, it loses power. Awareness is the alchemy that turns ignorance into choice. When you become aware of your vibration, you start creating deliberately instead of accidentally. Life stops being a reaction and becomes a dialogue with the cosmos. Every event becomes feedback from your own field. Ask yourself this: what if every obstacle in your life was not punishment, but precise feedback from the universe showing you where your vibration is misaligned? How would that change your reaction? You would no longer fight what happens. You would decode it. You would ask, what is this teaching me about my frequency? That's how the initiate grows, by interpreting reality, not escaping it. Every challenge becomes a mirror, a coded message from Thoth himself, disguised as circumstance. There's a hidden misconception buried deep within most seekers, the idea that awakening must feel grand, loud, cosmic. Yet Thoth's path is the opposite. True mastery begins not when something new is added, but when all illusions dissolve. Silence is not emptiness, it's the sound of alignment. The quieter your energy becomes, the louder the universe responds. You don't need to shout to creation, you only need to vibrate with precision. In stillness, everything bends without resistance. Thoth taught that human beings are fragments of divine equations, formulas of consciousness walking in flesh. Every choice adjusts your formula, every emotion rewrites the numbers. The laws of the cosmos don't punish or reward, they calculate, they respond to balance. When your emotional and mental equations reach symmetry, you don't need miracles, you become the formula that generates them. That's why the wise don't ask, "Why me?" They ask, "What vibration created this?" The answer always reveals the equation behind experience. Look closely at your thoughts when you wake up. Most people rise already vibrating yesterday's emotions. That repetition is how time traps consciousness. Thoth said, "The unawakened live inside loops of energy they themselves created." You think you're reliving the same morning, but you're rebroadcasting the same frequency. Nothing new can appear in a repeated wave. To alter time, alter the frequency that defines your mornings. Every sunrise can open a new dimension if you stop replaying the same vibration. We often imagine energy as something we send out, but Thoth's geometry shows the inverse. Energy doesn't go outward. Reality comes inward to meet your vibration. You are not pushing energy into space. You are pulling corresponding realities from the field into visibility. That means the world isn't reacting to you, it's revealing you. When your inner code shifts, the visible code rearranges to mirror it. So creation is not projection, it's revelation. Imagine this truth. The future isn't ahead. It's around you, existing as multiple frequencies, waiting for resonance. The moment your vibration matches one, it becomes visible. Thoth said, "All futures exist, but only the harmonized are seen." You don't walk toward destiny, you tune into it. Every desire is already formed in potential. The only missing piece is coherence. You don't need to chase your dream, you need to become the frequency where it already exists. And yet, here lies a paradox. Effort repels what alignment attracts. The harder you push, the louder you affirm separation. The mind says, "I must try harder." The wisdom says, "I must become quieter." The most magnetic energy is relaxed awareness. That is why Thoth's scribes practiced what was called active stillness, the art of being profoundly awake in motion. Every step, every breath charged with silent precision. The universe obeys that kind of energy instantly. To understand how obedience truly works, think of reality as liquid light. It molds itself around whatever container consciousness provides. Most people's containers are shaped by fear, expectation, and history. So the light of life simply fills those molds again and again. Change the container, and the liquid takes new form. Thoth's teaching wasn't about controlling light. It was about becoming the designer of your molds. Shape your inner vessel differently, and existence has no option but to adapt. Thoth once wrote, "The ignorant pray for power, the wise polish their frequency." Power without purity is noise. Purity without awareness is stagnation. But the fusion of both, refined awareness, turns vibration into command. That's why ancient initiates spent years mastering emotion before ever touching manifestation. They were not trying to get anything, they were learning to become something. When the being changes, attraction becomes automatic. You stop asking, and you start emitting. There's another secret. Vibration doesn't start in thought. It starts in attention. Whatever you truly give attention to, you feed into existence. That's why distraction is the modern form of energetic poverty. Thoth's students practiced sacred attention, holding one focus until energy crystallized around it. They knew attention is the wand of creation. Every time your mind wanders into fear or judgment, you unconsciously sculpt that into your field. To reclaim power, reclaim focus. It is not mystical, it's mechanical. The heart, Thoth taught, is not an emotional organ but a frequency regulator. It harmonizes thought with spirit. When the heart is closed, vibration splits, one signal from mind, another from emotion, and the field becomes static. That's why most affirmations fail. They come from the head, not the heart. When the heart opens, coherence restores itself. Suddenly the mind, body, and energy sing in one tone. That tone is irresistible to the universe because it is truth vibrating through form. Observe nature for a moment. Nothing forces, yet everything manifests. The tree doesn't try to grow. It simply follows the frequency coded within. Thoth said, humanity forgot this effortless law by over-identifying with effort. You were designed to unfold, not to chase. When you stop striving, you start allowing the natural geometry of your soul to emerge. That geometry attracts everything meant for you. You don't find destiny, you remember it. Energy never lies. It doesn't care about words or appearances. You can smile and still vibrate resentment. You can pray and still emit doubt. The universe doesn't hear what you say. It hears what you are. Thoth called this the language before language. To change your life, you must speak that silent tongue fluently. The syntax is feeling. The grammar is consistency. The punctuation is faith. And the more fluent you become, the more the world becomes readable, almost like a living text written by your own vibration. Now consider this. Every human carries two currents, the visible and the hidden. The visible current is behavior. The hidden one is frequency. You can fake the visible, but never the hidden. Thoth's wisdom was about aligning both. When action matches vibration, power flows without blockage. That's why people who act without inner coherence burn out. Their energy leaks through contradiction. The true initiate acts only when the inner current is clear. Then, even small gestures ripple across worlds. Most people look for signs of progress outside, numbers, results, recognition. But progress in vibration is felt, not seen. The first sign is inner calm. Then synchronicity increases. Then time feels flexible. Then words manifest faster. That's the natural sequence. Thoth warned that those who demand proof before faith will never reach it, because proof is the echo, not the origin. You don't wait for evidence to believe. You believe to generate evidence. The more you refine your vibration, the less reactive you become. Reactions are signs of energy instability. Response is awareness in motion. That's why Thoth's teachings were not about escaping emotion, but mastering it. When anger rises, see it as energy unrefined, molded into clarity. When fear appears, see it as light filtered through confusion. Refine it into trust. Every emotion is raw material for creation, not an obstacle, but an ingredient. Here's the unseen rule. What you resist expands. The moment you reject an emotion, you amplify it. Thoth advised not to suppress darkness, but to illuminate it. Awareness melts density faster than denial ever could. The alchemist doesn't fight the shadow. He studies its composition and turns it into light. The same applies to your vibration. Integrate it, and it transforms. Ignore it, and it repeats. The universe keeps mirroring until recognition occurs. The more conscious your vibration becomes, the more subtle reality turns. Events arrive with precision, almost surgical. The delay between thought and manifestation shrinks. That's both power and responsibility. Thoth said, this is why true wisdom cannot be given prematurely. An unrefined mind would destroy itself with instant manifestation. So delays are not punishment, but protection. The universe waits for you to stabilize your frequency before obeying faster. Here's something few understand. Energy doesn't move forward. It spirals. Every lesson you think you've mastered will reappear in another form, testing depth. The spiral brings you closer to the same truth, but from higher angles. That's how consciousness expands, through repetition, refined by awareness. So if a pattern returns, it's not regression, it's refinement. Each loop is a chance to vibrate differently, to choose coherence where you once chose confusion. Thoth once said, All transformation begins when energy recognizes itself. What he meant is that self-awareness is the ignition point of creation. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. The act of seeing your vibration clearly, without judgment, without story, begins the shift instantly. Awareness itself is the highest frequency. You don't need to fight for change. You need to see deeply enough for illusion to collapse. The moment truth is seen, falsehood dissolves by law. Before we close, seal your vibration here. Comment below the phrase, "I am the frequency that commands reality." This is not a phrase, it's a declaration. A code that tells the universe you've remembered your power. Let it be written in your field as a signature of alignment. Energy does not wait for your permission. It waits for your coherence. The moment you vibrate truth, everything aligns silently, almost unfairly fast. That's the hidden simplicity Thoth left for those who stopped searching and started resonating. And now that you've seen the pattern behind reality's obedience, what vibration will you choose to emit when this video ends? If this message felt like remembrance rather than learning, you are already part of the lineage that hears beyond words. Subscribe not as a viewer, but as an initiate, a guardian of invisible wisdom who walks between the seen and the unseen. Your presence here is not coincidence, it's recognition.